10 years later, and he looks exactly the same. How'd you do it,
I
Coach?
don't look the same, man. I don't look the same. I saw a picture of me from the last deal. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was not, no. Anyhow.
We appreciate the time, Coach.
All right, brother.
All right, we'll see you soon. Let's continue our coverage of the Spurs winning the draft lottery. Victor Wembanyama, the consensus prize. You've heard it a million times. You're going to hear it a million more times. And here's Spurs GM Brian Wright. It's because of more than what you see.
Because of their rich history, deserve, you got to earn it. But it's been too long for a Dallas Cowboys team not to have even played in an NFC championship game. So it's a big drought, and hopefully this will be the year that gets changed.
I would say they're off to a pretty good offseason so far.
Yeah, I agree.
It is the 8th weekend of the high school football season. Can you believe it? It just goes by like that right when the season starts. And we're starting it off on a Friday night here on the KCWX Game of the Week because it is rivalry weekend. Tomorrow, Brennan and Stevens. Tonight, Antonian and Central Catholic in a game that at one time was one of the better kept secrets in terms of rivalries in all of Greater San Antonio. No longer a kept secret. Everyone knows. And for a second straight year right here on KCWX TV, we're bringing it to you live and proud to do so this time from Bob Betson Stadium just north of downtown. We welcome you inside the booth.
With the only man fast enough to escape that explosion from Bane that blew up Gotham Stadium, at least the field. And a man so versatile that he's a Super Bowl MVP and a Dancing with the Stars champion. And now he's the coach of XFL San Antonio, Hines Ward.
Pleasure.
It is a pleasure.
Nice to
Thanks
meet you
for
there.
stopping by,
Pleasure.
man. We appreciate it.
I'm glad to be here.
You wear a lot of hats. Time to get freaky. Giannis to the Spurs. So you're saying there's a chance, or is there really? Speaking of the NBA, champions of the world or not. Big week for the Cowboys. Plus,
I can't see how you would expect us to go into Houston and be a favorite.
is Coach Jeff Traylor right? And do our guys agree? Let's bring in three of everyone's favorites, Richard Oliver, Don Harris, and Chuck Mikatinik.
Speaking of Pop, the 5-year contract surprised you a little bit?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Before we had the number one pick, I thought he was going to retire, and come drink some wine with me in my vineyard, But then we got the number one pick, so now I'm not surprised that he wanted to stay and go through the process with Victor.
A lot of size on that left side of the line. By the way, their center is only 265. Hawkins, slant, touchdown.
Yep. Same thing.
Gabe Simpson. This one will be fielded. Redding at his own 20. Good seam up the middle. He's across the 50 just like that. It's still on his feet. Across the 30. No one's getting Cole Redding. Touchdown, New Braunfels. 80 yards. And a 20-6 lead with the extra point to come. 15 yards for Pryor on the previous carry. Gets it again. Hits the Y button. Is it Y, Jordan York? B. I can never get it straight. The spin button on video games when I was growing up was X. But I always get it wrong nowadays because I don't know if it's Y or it's B or it's A. Jordan York, thankfully, letting me know that it is the B button.
When I was growing up, there were no video games. So we didn't have any buttons to push.
Well, Coach Lyndon Hamilton pushing all the right buttons for this Reagan Rattler offense.
Feels like a dream, to be honest.
There are dreams you wait to wake up from. And then there are dreams, or in Richie Torres' case, what's well beyond the wildest imagination.
I never thought I'd take it to college. That never crossed my mind.
The term overnight success sometimes carries a bit of a negative stigma. For Richie Torres, it was a matter of circumstance, or circumstances. Southside High School was set at quarterback in his first 2 years there.
with the program's all-time leading passer at the helm. When Richie's opening came, so did the virus that would change the world.
And he was unable to go to the camps, and he was unable to go to the combines because they weren't hosting any in the state of Texas, or in most states, just whatever state. But so we were in lockdown, so he kind of missed his window as far as being seen and getting around, the state of Texas especially, and he just didn't have that opportunity.
Opportunity. It's a nuanced word when it comes to communities like Southside's, a district some, maybe many, in the San Antonio area refer to as out in the middle of nowhere. The school district serves neighborhoods that mostly fall in the bottom third of 60 zip codes within the city limits. With average household incomes between $24,000 and $32,000 a year, football most often isn't a priority for many who live here.
Before this past year with Camarillo and Young signing, the last signee was in 1977, and his name was Pearson. He signed with Rice, Clemsy Pearson. I believe he signed with Rice, and he's the last one we've had here that even signed Division I. So I do not know of any others. There's no pictures or anything in the hallway, so I'm going off of that, and nobody's brought it to my attention. I'm sure if they hear this and we did, they will bring it to my attention, but right. I do not know of any.
From best you can tell, though,
yes, sir.
From best you can tell, Richie might be the first Power 5 commit that the program's ever had.
Yes, sir.
It's different. Like, I get a lot of attention, being from this side of town, and it's not being very known for people to go, where I'm going, especially as a quarterback, too.
Richie's specific path hasn't proven conventional either. Always taller than most his age, hoops had his attention growing up, but not his heart. Even though you didn't have a love for basketball, you looked at it as maybe that's my ticket to something.
Right.
And you loved football, but you thought, I'm not going to play beyond high school probably.
Yeah, it's really what it was.
Although for a bit, it seemed like Richie might not even make it to high school football.
When he first started, he tried out as a kicker. He started out, he didn't make that at all.
Nah, I'm not really a kicker. I tried out for kicker one time, and it went, not as I expected.
He went up and he thought that he was going to kick the ball so hard, and when he went up to try for that, to kick the ball, he just, tried kicking it so hard that he just fell right on his back, and everybody, including the coaches and the parents, they just laughed at him so hard. And he came up to me after practice and he said, "Did you see that?" We were like, "Yeah, we all saw that, Richie." And
it's like Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
Because he just kind of laid there. He wasn't hurt or anything. He just kind of turtled and stayed there.
Though he never again kicked, he did settle in as a tight end, then a right tackle. And when he got to high school, he played some safety. But all the while, his arm strength grew as he did. And so when Cardinals quarterback Alejandro Escamilla graduated, the overnight story began.
All the coaches were just telling him, this is your team now, you know what I mean? Take leadership and let's roll with this because you're the next man up. And I was like, and I didn't hesitate to think, I knew that after the football season, I was like, I'm the next guy up. So I was just, I was ready for it. I was excited for it, and I was just looking forward to it. I was a little nervous, you know what I mean? Not playing big-time football, not playing outside leagues football, just more of the little leagues. So I was ready for it, but I was nervous at the same time because I didn't know what to expect.
What we got was San Antonio's coming out party. Though we played in just 7 games because of an already shortened, delayed, COVID-affected season, Torres threw for more than 1,100 yards and 18 touchdowns. He rushed for 5 more on his way to district offensive MVP honors.
It's amazing when you see him live and when you stand next to him when he throws the ball. I only had 2 quarterbacks that you could hear the ball come out of his hand. He's one of them. So he's got a unique skill set. He's a 6'6" guy that has movement, that very mobile, that has a rocket arm. He can make every throw under the sun. The thing that's very impressive, he can be on the right hash and throw a 20-yard out on the left side, and put it right where it needs to be. It's a missile. And he can throw to a guy out of the backfield running down the sideline, lob it up, touch pass.
A hometown college noticed from the get-go.
I was just lifting, and then I get like a Twitter from UTSA. I'm like, whoa, like that's big. You know what I mean? They're just saying like they're recruiting me and they're happy to be recruiting me. So I was like, that's big. It made me real happy. I sent it to all my friends and my family, and they were really happy. So that was really when it happened.
What would happen next would prove quite the whirlwind.
When it first started, it was just like nonstop. His phone was ringing, text messages. I mean, we couldn't even get him to to get him in the same room because, I mean, there was constantly a coach on the phone. His text messages were going off. I mean, his Twitter page was just going crazy.
The dining room table is full of letters from different schools. Like, it's covered in letters. And I feel like once he got one call, it was just call after call every night. He would get either a Zoom call or a phone call every night that would last for hours.
Wyoming, San Diego State, and Tulsa joined fellow Division I program UTSA in pursuit, but so did a handful of Power Fives. Washington State, Utah, Kansas State also came calling, as did a certain traditional power that shares the same colors as his Southside Cardinals.
When I got the, Nebraska, it was Big Ten, and my dad was like, wow, that's Big Ten, dude. Like, you're playing Ohio State, Michigan State, Wisconsin, Illinois. Like, you're playing some, top, the best of the best. And when I realized that, I was like, wow, like, this is for real, and it's Power 5. Like, this is national televised. I thought it was really cool. It was really eye-popping, and it was a shocker, really, to me, because I didn't see that really in myself. But once I got it, now I'm starting to, believe it a little bit.
The Cornhuskers sealed the deal with Richie during a visit in early June.
It really feels like home. It's a small town feel, and that's just like, I don't live in the city. I live more, more out here, more towards the, 20 minutes out of the city. So it's kind of similar, you know what I mean? Like, it gives home vibes.
Nebraska hopes to have him on campus by the spring. It would mean a member of the Torres family would attend college for the first time. The kind of move that alters the course of a family, and in Richie's case, potentially the course of a community as well.
Being Hispanic, being from the south side of San Antonio, do you think about that in terms of this whole process and how it's not common for a kid who's got your type of last name, your skin color, is from your type of neighborhood to be not only being recruited, but recruited as a quarterback?
Yeah.
As a quarterback to Power Fives.
It's crazy. It's I take a lot of pride into it, really. I love my community. I love this place. Like, this is just my home. Like, I'll always call this place home. I could have chose to go to different schools, like switch to 6A, go here, go there, team up with this guy, but that wasn't really in my interest. I wanted to represent where I was from because I love this place, and like I said, I love my people, I love the community, I love what they do for me, and I just want to give back to them because they've done a lot for me, they've supported me.
There's every reason to believe that support will only grow, especially as Richie's career does. It's a journey those who know the game say could end up on the ultimate stage.
He's got what you see on Sundays. He's got what you see. Those guys, all 6'6" quarterbacks. They're playing in the NFL. So I mean, it's just the reality of it.
It would prove a new reality for the kid who did not start his first 2 years in high school, the soon-to-be first-generation college student, the kid blazing a trail while on a dreamlike journey, the kid from the South Side.
I just know when I make it big, if I make it big, I want to definitely come back here and spread some love.
The high school football season is going to be here before you know it. You can picture it now. The Friday night lights, packed stadiums, bands, run-throughs, cheerleaders and dance teams, fans. And after the game, thanks to Allah, publicly, one of the head coaches prays at midfield, kneeling and then leaning forward until his forehead touches the turf of a stadium your dollars helped fund. Players join, then some parents, all of them speaking audibly in Arabic. you were to see that, what would go through your mind? This week, the Supreme Court heard the case of Joe Kennedy, a former public high school football coach in the state of Washington who continued to lead voluntary Christian prayers at midfield following games, even after the school district, which tried to accommodate Kennedy so that he could pray privately before and after games, asked him to stop. The decision from the highest court in the land is expected before its summer recess. In the court of public opinion, this one should be pretty cut and dry, especially nowadays. Or do sporting events no longer have to stick to sports? I'm Catholic, went to Catholic school for 12 years, taught catechism courses. My dad's a deacon. My wife's Catholic. My daughter goes to Catholic school. But if we're not going to welcome outward Muslim prayers, or prayers to great spirits, or Jewish prayers, or declarations that God doesn't exist in a public school setting, no outward Christian prayers either. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 12.